Okay, so here we go. I believe this is going to be the last interview Dave Canales does before the preseason week 1 against the Patriots. So if you've been here for the Dave Canales extravaganza, all of his press conferences have now been broken down. Bringing to you now the last one, right here on Roll Coverage with your host, Nick. Let's go.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage. But that practice felt right. The rhythms of it, the guys are getting used to the cadences of what we're doing. We got some great full speed reps on our punt and punt return. We got to be able to collect that information as well, getting full speed reps in pads. So we were padded for half of the day, and the energy felt right. The intent of it felt right. The execution, got to watch the film, got to see what that was, but the offense looked good. There were some good rhythmic plays that happened. And then, to just kind of wrap the whole thing up, we had Julius Peppers come and speak to the team at the end, delivered a powerful message. And for those of you who got a chance to hear his Hall of Fame speech, he was able to, really take the highlights of it. And, the message I took from it was he talked about that locker room. He talked about, sure, you remember certain games, you remember certain big plays, he said, but the biggest and most lasting memories are the ones he created with his teammates. And just how important that is for finishing games the right way is the connectedness and the family atmosphere that the players create, really, spending time with each other, learning who each other are, learning about each other's families and friends and things like that. It was just, it was really powerful. All the guys' eyes wide open, just taking it all in. What a fantastic, really just a day for us to be able to, for me to back off and give Julius the platform for a second. And the message was so clear and so powerful.
With that said,
Hey, thank you, Dave, for that little intro. Of course, Mr. Peppers deserves that Hall of Fame jacket. Super happy to have him. The next one we will have, you guys might know his name. His name is Luke. Yeah, he's definitely getting a gold jacket ASAP. Super excited for that. But this team is obviously finally coming together. This is the last press conference breakdown for the Patriots game. I'm very excited for the future of this team, but this is going to be the measuring stick game to figure out where the team is. I need to see great offensive line play. I need to see pass rush getting there, and I need to see some bad passes in the secondary. Those are my 3 concerns and have stayed my 3 concerns. So hopefully these are remedied. Hopefully we can see those upgrades and, of course, see our weapons out there for everybody to see. I'm very excited. Hopefully you are too.
some teams go paintball, they go to movies, they go bowling, or what are you doing to build camaraderie during this camp among the guys?
Really, it's our meetings, our meeting time, our team meetings. We get in there, and we're talking about the football, trying to get it right. But we also they had some lasting traditions that they've been working through. We have some pretty good singing talent. Just want to let you guys know. And some not so good singing talent, and I think they're getting the sense that this game is about presence. It's not about the tone of your voice. And so the guys are getting up there. Actually called a couple coaches up there, so that's been pretty interesting as well. But just things like that, we're just kind of creating that culture of connectedness. And then for sure, just, some of the players that have been here, just making sure they're spending that time together, and stuff happening at the hotel, going over scripts and things on their own, just all those things add up. We had a couple of events in the spring, but during camp, the focus is football, and we've been, Fan Fest was a great opportunity for us to connect, to get together and be in another hotel on the road. So that was another great, just like molten moment, for us, for our group.
Yeah, the whole Clemson thing, I know that we played, I believe it's our first game ever in the Clemson arena. So I obviously understand the heritage and everything like that, but you see that little thing? I'm looking at my screen. It's right over there behind the training camp thing. You see how it's got North and South Carolina in it? All I'm saying is we should be doing stuff at NC State as well, University of South Carolina, Coastal Carolina, any of those. Those should all be opportunities for us to go and test the road readiness. And of course, touch more places in Carolina with the team. So I hope soon we finally branch out. I understand that we're the Carolina Panthers, but we're based in Charlotte. So we need to start branching out and doing more opportunities with more colleges and more places for the community to just get involved and come see the team.
Dave, have you made any decisions on starters and how?
By the way, Dude's still got a vitamin deficiency, can never stop licking his lips. It's super weird. I don't understand why nobody can get him a pack of gum or a water or Gatorade or something before these press conferences. Maybe it's just me, but hey, I've called it out in a bunch of press conferences. And if he ever gets to see these, hopefully you get a giggle out of it, and hopefully you start drinking some damn water.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah, so we got a big meeting this afternoon. What I have to do is I have to connect with our trainers, connect with our staff to just kind of see who's going to be available for us, and then we'll make the decisions after that.
Guys. Bryce, Dave.
Bryce will not play, okay? And then we'll take that kind of week to week and get a sense for, do we need to get him?
By the way, I hate the decision to sit Bryce. He didn't earn the ability to sit. He needs to play at least a full series out there. But this obviously tells me something. Maybe Bryce isn't ready. So I'm a bit concerned there.
Out there in this system and kind of get a couple of series, and do that. That's something that, I've done in the past. We've done both. So for this game, he will not play.
Could you kind of go over the pros and cons in your mind of that decision, and how did you handle it with Baker last year?
Yeah, so different situation last year in Tampa. We had a quarterback competition, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, so we wanted them out there getting those opportunities. This is different. We know who our guys.
I'm sorry, that's a little bit of PR speak. There's no way in hell you really thought Kyle Trask was going to be Baker Mayfield. Nobody thought that was going to happen besides Kyle Trask and his family. So no, I'm sorry, I cannot let that one slide. It was Baker. You're just trying to use this as a reason to like give Bryce the slide. Bryce needs to have played this game, period.
Guy is, and he's doing a fantastic job. The growth and all that matters. I've seen the plus side of going out there and just being able to, have the cadences, the mixes, the plays coming in, the play clock, the situations and all that. Those are really important as well. But I also know, we're depending on those guys too. So the flip side of that too, which we've seen some different models around the league, is let's make sure that we're throwing those situations at them, getting our move the ball periods so that we can function and see where we're at.
You guys released the first depth chart. What went into making those decisions, and then how fluid is it?
It's fluid. I think probably the first group, is pretty good. And then after that, there's just competitions at every position, and so we want to, the evaluation process continues. Every practice is important, particularly when we get into pads and we have these move the ball periods to evaluate it. The games are going to be huge for that, So there's some stock to put into that for sure. And we want those guys to know, like the guys that we're counting on, these are the ones, and the rest of them, everybody's like, shoot, great opportunities, to show us what they can do.
Dave, with Bryce out and Andy kind of dinged up, you're going to have a big opportunity to see Jack Plummer.
Yeah.
What has he shown you through the little bit of camp you've seen and the work he's gotten, and what have you kind of learned about his game?
Yeah, I've learned.
Why does it matter? He's going to play a preseason game or 3 because we don't want to put Bryce Young out there because he can't balance the cadence, the scheme, the clock, getting the play in, and all that other stuff. Because that's what he's worried about. He's saying Bryce needs more time to get that stuff down. This is not the supercomputer that we were sold. I'm sorry, that's at least what I'm hearing right now. Am I wrong? If I am, put it in the comments. I'm down with that. But I don't feel wrong in this situation. I'm worried. I'm worried. This is the first alarm I am sounding. Definitely not a 3 alarm, but this is the first alarm. I am worried.
The guy's a hard worker. I've learned that he's very detailed in what he does. I feel like he's been really sharp, with the different changes that happen at the line. Really just like the mechanisms, the cadences and all that stuff. I think he's been sharp there. He's a great athlete. He's got a big arm, and he's showcased that a couple times, and love his mobility, and just got a really cool demeanor about him. So I really like the guy. I'm excited for Jack for this opportunity. A lot of times you kind of get the late quarter work, and he gets to kind of go out there and, really, for Jack, this is like, you don't realize it, but the guys that, if they don't make your team, it's like it's almost a year later till they get actual live game experience, and this is going to be so valuable for him for his career, and development.
Dave, would that apply mostly to like
for instance, your offensive line starters, your receiver, Deontay, will most of the starters also sit out like Bryce is?
That's something we have to look at. We just got to look at our numbers. JD Dorenzo, just to kind of let you know, we have an ankle injury there, so they're doing all the workup right now. They'll give me more information after I get downstairs, but all that stuff matters in terms of who we can afford to play and not play, because we got to play 4 quarters. It's a full game, so those are the things that we're going to get after this afternoon.
I do not like this at all. I understand the injury concerns for those guys. Okay, just don't have them involved. But we need to be putting out as many starters as possible. Again, nobody deserves to sit or has earned the ability to sit. So I hate this. I hate it. It's so bad. Why are we doing this?
With not having Bryce, not having Andy, having an inexperienced quarterback, that you're not going to get a good evaluation of other guys on the offense because you don't have a quarterback with a whole lot of experience back there?
Not the way Jack's been playing. So that's the cool part, is I'm excited about that. And we brought in Jake Luton as well, a guy that's been around a couple of different teams. I was with him in Seattle for a little bit. So a guy that knows how to play football and function, that's what we really needed to feel good about the evaluation and how important that is, So we brought him in. We're working him into some of the wording. Some of it's the same, a little bit different in some, but we got to make sure our cadence is right so we can just get the play started. And he's really sharp. And so I'm glad he's here, and he's going to give us that ability to evaluate our guys.
I hate this. Absolutely hate this. I don't know if I'm in a twilight zone, maybe I'm the outlier. You know what? Maybe I'm just the troll under the bridge for the Carolina Panthers saying all the bad stuff. But if you really think Plummer can come in here and he's the one that's going to be able to properly evaluate, what are we doing with Andy Dalton? I understand he's hurt in the situation, but if you think that Plummer is some great guy and Luton is some great guy, like, come on, this is all coach speech. I hate it. I hate it so much. If they were good enough, they would be on a roster. That's why they're the 3rd and 4th string on our team. I'm sorry.
I know you're focused really on thud contact, but
yeah.
When you see something like Jamie and Jacob, and they have a collision, what's the coaching point there? Do you let it go? Do you kind of like seeing a little bit of pop? Like, what's your outlook on a play like that?
We're pushing our guys to the limit. They got to make those decisions for us. I didn't like that hit just because it's a defenseless receiver, and whether it's in practice or the game, if you go helmet to helmet on a defenseless player, it's a foul. So I don't like that part of it. Jamie's game is physical. He's going to err on that side. We like that, but at the same time, we got to be smart. Rule number 1 is be a great teammate, and that's about protecting your team in those vulnerable situations. Which we've been doing a pretty good job of.
Pretty good. Again, I said previously that I think the penalties have been a big concern for Dave Canales, so make sure we watch that this year. How penalized is this team? Because a lot of what he's been saying is, we're doing really good. And then, he kind of trails off with it. So I'm a bit worried about that as well. Where do we lie in penalties per game? Do we go out there preseason week 1 against the Patriots and basically give the game away with a ton of penalties? I could absolutely see that scenario. That's just not a winning scenario.
Terrace went down yesterday with a pretty nasty collision as well. Comes back today, has a pretty solid day. Just what does that say about him and his toughness being able to bounce back?
Love that. Love the resilience that he showed, just being able to say, okay, this is a manageable thing. Got back out there and just played hard, which is what we expect out of our guys. It's great.
What's your assessment of the progress you've seen from Trevin Wallace?
I love it. I think that, again, talking about Trevin, I know he knows what he's doing when I see that speed and that size show up. We know that there's some indecision when he kind of just looks normal. You know what I mean? And he's got talent. I mean, he's a real talent out there. So he's got to keep pushing himself, applying himself to the game plans and all that. Going to play a lot this week, and I can't wait to see him, play in a live game and to showcase all the things that we were excited about and bringing him here.
Okay, so that tells me right now, Trevin is a talent. He's got the intangibles, all the other stuff, but what he can't do is digest the playbook, which was my concern about drafting him. Oh my God, if this ends up being a bust already, I swear, because I guarantee the Patriots know this, and they're going to look for him and scheme based on him. Watch and see at the end of this game. I mean, listen, if he ends up coming out there with 10, 12 tackles, a sack or so, I'm happy, man. But I just don't see it. I see him. There's going to be a highlight by a Patriots guy where we see Wallace look left and the dude's running right, or vice versa.
Is there a moment where you notice that shift of him really showing up in the way that you expect?
He's headed there. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I like the consistency of where he's at with that, but more and more so, yes. He's starting to show the understanding of it.
Will Eddie practice? I mean, will Eddie participate in the game? Because you have Harrison.
That's the plan right now. So Tracy Smith, he's got a plan for the rotation of the kickers. But we certainly, have seen Eddie, and we know what he can do. He's a fantastic kicker, and we want to give Harrison a chance to show us what he can do. He's got a really live leg, and it'd be cool to see a pretty long-range field goal at some point where you might go for it, or you might punt in that situation. Let's maybe just take a shot here to see if he can showcase his talent.
Back on Bryce, the pros that you mentioned, does the possible risk of injury ultimately outweigh those pros in your mind, and where does that Jets preseason practice, where you have a little bit more control of the situation, how does that factor in?
Yeah, so you can't play scared, but you got to be smart. And so, yeah, it's a factor for sure. We're thinking about that. With the guys we're counting on, we're definitely taking that into consideration, Joe, for sure. And then our live move the ball periods, we're going ones versus ones all camp, and so those are so valuable, especially at the end of practice when we're tired. We get into the move the ball settings. We'll have the Jets in here. That's going to be a fantastic day. I can't wait. That's great work for those guys. So we got to take advantage of those windows.
Will that be thud work as well? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Wasn't the Jets the practice last year where Aaron Rodgers got pissed off because the defense did too well? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, and if I am, put it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened last year. So, hey, defense, if you guys are ready, I'm ready for you guys to rip Aaron Rodgers' head off.
One of the things around the league that seems to be happening is like everybody's gone to these, scrimmages before, where you can control them, but also they're going from 2 days to 1 days in a lot of cases. Is that because by the second day guys are fighting with each other? What is it? The teams are just kind of doing the 1 days.
Yeah, there's multiple factors, right? So when you get a competitive period against a new opponent, right, the adrenaline really kicks in, although I'm asking them to go for it in practice. We're playing against each other. You hit the same guys over and over, and sometimes you get sick of, the same matchups and all that, so it's refreshing, but it also heightens the competition when you get those moments. And so there's an extra level of exertion closest to the game, as close to a game that you can get when you're playing a new opponent. So I think coaches across the league, especially for Coach Sala and I, thinking about those things, it's smart to keep it to one really good day, get after it, because there's the fallout on the next day is physical, but then there's also some pushing and tugging and things that happen, and sometimes the retaliation factor plays into that second practice. So just trying to limit that part of it, and try to focus it and make sure, guys, this is our shot. Let's get a great day's work,
Dave, for you,
Do a couple more.
For you personally.
Obviously, I'm a little bit concerned with that answer. I wish we could do more days to showcase the team to more people, but I obviously understand the retaliation aspect. I honestly didn't even think about that, but that makes complete sense. So I'm happy with the decision to go to 1 day, but at the same time, hopefully the players are still being able to get the value from the training that they're getting, because right now we are not ready, I believe, on any level, offense or defense.
Personally, is there any extra excitement around Thursday being your first game as a head coach? Do you have any pregame traditions you'll try to keep up?
Try to get my workout in before. I'm definitely excited. The thing I'm most excited about really is not for me. My excitement is to see our team play like us. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want to see us play so hard. I want to see us finish through the echo of the whistle. I want to see us execute at a high level, particularly when we're tired. I want to see the excitement of the guys that aren't in connected to the players that are making plays, because that's what creates that bond, is the support, celebrating. We talk about enthusiasm all the time. with our play style. And that enthusiasm comes from our players. We bring the juice, and that's kind of the selling point to our guys is it's always us. When we're at home, we love it when our fans get behind us, but we have to create it as a group. We're the ones that have to elevate our readiness to run and hit, and we have to be able to take that anywhere we go at any time. So I'm looking for that, and that's what I'm most excited about. And yes, I mean, definitely just, calling the plays, handling the exchanges with the officials, do we decline this penalty? Do we not? I'm excited about all those things. These are new things that I've observed, but it's going to be really cool to be right at the center of making those calls.
Dave.
One of the interesting things as well is if you remember that Bucks playoff game where Baker just went off and I forget who they beat. Did they beat the Eagles? Anyways, they had that crazy playoff game. You know what? I gave credit at that time to Dave Canales. This is truly Dave's first chance. I'm excited to see the script. That'll tell us a lot. I'm excited, again, to see how the offensive line is going to do. A big concern for me, the pass rush and secondary. I'm going to continue to hammer those 3 points home. So,
your wide receiver background, like in your history of working with wide receivers, have you found that when younger players have older players to look up to from a route running perspective, it accelerates the learning curve? Or do you find that having the coach handle that route running, like for instance, we saw Jonathan Mingo doing a really nice double move in those red zone drills. Like, it seems like there's kind of a heightened awareness of route running in this camp than there was last summer. Do you think that having Deontay and Adam helps with the process of this whole thing with the route running?
Absolutely. And let me start off by saying our receivers coach, Rob Moore, is fantastic. He's done a great job. He was in Oakland with the Raiders. He was in Tennessee with a bunch of really good players, and is able to work with veteran players and also to work with rookies and to know how to push them and prepare them. So it starts there, but also, yes, having the veteran receivers who just know how to set things up, it definitely accelerates the education of the younger players. And off the field too, how to take care of your body, how to study, how to respond to, having multiple practices in a row. For them to learn those routines is one of the first things I told our team as a whole is I said, young guys, if you don't have a plan, it's easy. Just look around, pick a vet, do exactly what he does. Watch what he eats, watch what time he gets there, watch how he prepares in between, afterwards, all those things. So that certainly helps, and we have a great presence on both sides of the ball from our veterans.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Dave. And, of course, thank you, Carolina Panthers, for, of course, bringing us another breakdown for the Dave Canales Breakdown Extravaganza. This one was a perfect one. I love how he finished it off when it's talking about mentorship in the wide receiver room. We do have some veteran guys. I think that, again, both of those veterans are going to not be here next year. So I really hope that our rookies and our younger wide receivers are acting like sponges and just taking in as much information as possible. Dave is delivering a banger of a press conference. He gives us exactly what we're looking for. We've got a few nuggets in there. There's some stuff that we're looking for moving forwards that you're able to catch only here at Roll Coverage with me, your host, Nick. But I want to know your thoughts, to be honest. The extravaganza has come to an end. I believe this is going to be the last video, unless he decides to put one up late Thursday, in which I will try to get the breakdown out before the game. I just want to know your thoughts. Sports is a very interesting place to be, especially being a fan of the team, trying to break down and see all the little nuances. I could, of course, call out every time he makes a little weird twinge and everything like that, but we also have to hear the words that are coming out of his mouth. I believe the message. I'm really hoping and praying that he's able to put it all together, but that question will be answered tomorrow, or actually today, Thursday, for that game against the Patriots. So, my name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage. Hopefully you have a great rest of the day, and always make sure to come back for your press conference breakdowns right here at Roll Coverage. Peace.